shots of road.
Kings of Dirt is presented to you by Broadlink. Serious bandwidth for serious business. Brother, print, copy, scan, fax, label, and so much more. KTM, ready to race. And driven by the all-new Ford Ranger. Ford, go further. Coming up on this week's episode, we take a look back at round one of the National Off-Road Championship from WOLMARRANSTAD in the Northwest Province and take in highlights of the first hard enduro of the year, Hell's Gate in Italy.
It's going to be tough, it's going to be fast, it's going to be awesome.
There's a lot of lurkers, there's a lot of anthills.
A lot of long grass and mealie fields.
Just got to hold on tight and see what I can do.
WOLMARRANSTAD is known mainly as a diamond mining area and boasts a healthy millie farming industry as well. But on this weekend, it was all about the race, the Diamond Route 400. Fastest qualifier at the seeding event at the beginning of the season was newcomer to the championship, Ross Branch.
Yeah, definitely. No, nerves are always there, which is always a good thing, I suppose. Yeah, it's different. You know, I'm going to be starting first. I haven't started first before in any of the off-roads I've done. So it's going to be opening the road. I'm going to take it easy for the first loop just to see the dangerous spots and give it my best shot on the second and third loop and see how it goes.
Yeah, new bike, starting out front, it's quite nerve-wracking, but we're going to hopefully keep it together. Just pace yourself and see how the others do.
It's going to be a fight from the start. We're starting very close together, all the top 10 oaks. And everybody's doing well, you know, everybody's fast. You can see the guys have done their training on the off-season. All the manufacturers are coming with the best of the best.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this day for a while now, so yeah, I think everyone's ready to go out and do what they've been training for. So yeah, I just want to try and put my proudly British Yamaha on the podium.
With all the top riders back from injury and a whole bunch of new talent, it was hard to predict an outcome for the day's racing. Off the front row was rookie to the off-road racing camp Ross Branch and 2013 OR2 champion Tim Young. They were followed 30 seconds later by a determined pair on row 2, 2012 overall champion Lawrence Mahoney and current reigning champion Kenny Gilbert. Third row saw second place finisher at the 2013 championship Ruan Roberts, closely followed by Mark DeLager, now on a big 450.
I'm going to give it my best shot. You know, win is always on the cards, and I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to go for it. But you know, it just depends on how the day plans out. You know, this is all new for me, so we'll see. My strategy at the moment is just take it as it comes, and halfway through see how we are, and then see if we can change the game plan a bit for the second half of the race.
It's been a long time since we've seen Kawasaki in the top 10 of an off-road race, and Dylan Ings made the swap over to the manufacturer in the off-season and looks in top form to bring home some good results. He lay in fourth, just ahead of Mark DeLager. The current OR3 champion, Lo Schmidt, was well into the top 10 placings nearing the end of lap 1 and looking to start the defense of his championship by leading the class. He was just ahead of newly signed Cargo Racing Yamaha's Sharon Moore and Husqvarna's Altus de Vet. And moving up to the senior ranks saw Bolly van Rooyen lead the class by a healthy margin with second runner in the OR2 class, Wesley Redinger, known more for his technical enduro skills. The race consisted of 2 loops, and the first loop was raced 3 times before crossing over to loop 2, which was also to be raced 3 times, and each lap was roughly 54 kilometers long with crazy speeds proven by the top riders banging in laps just under 45 minutes. On lap 2, the dice up front was still as tight as it gets, with Tim Young making a move and just getting ahead of Lawrence Mahoney and Ross Branch. Kenny Gilbert still held on to 4th position, with rival Ruan Roberts catching slowly. It was still a good solid 6th position for Dylan Ings on the Kawasaki, clearly happy and comfortable on the new machine. The rest of the order in the top 10 were just sitting and waiting for any mistakes from the riders out front.
Yeah, today is definitely playing sort of in my favour. Starting further back, at least there won't be any dust for hopefully the first 3 loops. It still doesn't change the fact that this terrain is very dangerous. There's a lot of lurkers, there's a lot of anthills. There probably will be some long grass, so we do have to be very careful, take it easy. But I couldn't have asked for a better day. My Roost KTM 500 is awesome. And I'm sure with my Mitres tires, I'm going to have the ultimate traction today.
Pienaar was clearly disappointed in his qualifying result at the beginning of the year, after fueling problems forced him to use his practice bike to complete the seeding event. And this day was not going to get any easier, as making up ground on a fast event like this would not be an easy feat. JC Nienaber was showing huge signs of improvement and lay in 16th overall. Altus de Vet still lay just inside the top 10, with Sharon Moore following closely. On the final lap of the first loop, nobody had gained any time on other competitors, just showing the nature of this race. However, it was now that fitness would start to play its part and see who had done the off-season work. Ruan Roberts had now made the move on Kenny Gilbert after he had some braking issues after a small crash. The decontrol after the 3rd lap couldn't have come sooner for Gilbert. Making his way up the order in the open class was Jonathan Webster, who had just made a move on Lo Schmidt, who was still leading the 200cc class.
Yeah, it's going well. You know, I'm learning a lot. Lawrence and Tim are setting a good pace. So for me, I'm just trying to hang on to them as long as I can and learn as much as I can. The bike is unbelievable. You know, the KTM 450 is going so well. I'm loving life. Like I say, it's a learning curve. The guys are putting in a really quick pace, so I've got to stick with it and see how the rest of the day goes.
The decontrol marked a compulsory 15-minute stop for all riders. While some were having a problem-free ride, others were clearly not. After the first half of the race was completed, Nicholas Pienaar had moved himself up from 22nd place to 14th overall. Not easy at all in these conditions, but with the KTM 500cc beast beneath him, anything was clearly possible. The dice for the lead had an ominous feeling that something was going to give. But on the first lap of the new loop, everything remained the same. Further down the field, we saw a few new and old competitors showing the speeds to grab some valuable championship points. Jonathan Webster had now moved up from outside the top 10 into 7th place overall, but later on in the race, he suffered a crash to drop him back down the order. In 8th and 9th was still leading senior Bolly van Rooyen, closely followed by Wesley Redinger and Altus de Vet. Bernard McGee was showing some tremendous pace going into the second half of the race and lay third in the ultra-competitive OR3 class. Pienaar and the big KTM 500 were ticking off the laps and kilometers. By this stage, sitting just outside the top 10 in 11th place.
My moose came off while I was riding. Maybe it was too flat.
This move was inevitable. 2012 champion Lawrence Mahoney pulled the pin and took the lead with just 1.5 laps to go, and with that opened a 1-minute lead to his chasing teammate Ross Branch, who had also capitalized on a small mistake from Tim Young. The two brother KTM riders were now dropping the hammer. Ruan Roberts and Kenny Gilbert also managed to pass the cargo racing rider and were still locked in their own battle that just seemed to have carried on from where they left off last season. Final stages of the last lap, Gilbert made the move on a tiring Ruan Roberts to grab third spot with only 30 kilometers to go to the finish line. At the line, it was an amazing return to racing for Lawrence Mahoney as he took the first victory of the season with an incredible second position for teammate Ross Branch in his first full season in off-road racing. Reigning champion Kenny Gilbert fought hard after no front brakes in the first half of the race to claim his third overall. So the results from the opening round of the National Off-Road Championship, the Diamond Route 400, Mahoney over Branch, Gilbert, Ings, a great result for Kawasaki in fourth, ahead of Roberts.
Starting the season like this is really good for me, and you know, it's good for the confidence, and still need to work on a few things. First 3 laps, my suspension setup was was not good at all. We were totally out. But I spoke to Chris at the decontrol, and he made some changes, and it was a different bike. So at least, you know, we're learning, and we can only work forward from here and take the good from this weekend and, you know, work towards the next one.
Mahoney has definitely put all of those injury woes from last season behind him. This week in KTM news, Tadej Blazusiak has signed to stay with the Big Orange KTM racing team through 2015 and 16. And on the motocross scene, Cairolian Hurlings make it pure orange, taking wins in MX1 and 2 in Thailand. The beautiful scenic setting of Chiocchi in Italy played host to the intimidating Hell's Gate Hard Enduro. The favourite coming into this season, and in particular coming into this event, was Britain's Graham Jarvis, carrying so much momentum on the back of an incredible streak of victories. But Johnny Walker, the young Brit, also starting to come on strong and challenging not only for podiums, but for wins. In the early part of the event, the top two riders showed their class by breaking the back of the field and working together to make it a two-horse race out front. Jarvis, though, started to show his skill, speed, agility, and athleticism as he broke away off the front, making the impossible seem possible. And Johnny Walker showing the human side of racing, where mistakes do and can happen. Even with mistakes, Walker was still comfortable in second place, and the American Cody Webb battling on his own in third place on the beater machine. A few crashes along the way didn't help the Americans charge. Fourth place and always building pace as the race goes on. The German rider Letty Andreas Lettenbichler moving across on this season to the KTM and making the two-stroke machine work for him. As night fell, though, it was Jarvis who just extended away off the front and gave a masterclass into how to run an event like this. At the very end, on the very last climb, which was inhuman, it was the crowd that helped him up and allowed him to be the winningest rider at this event. Second place went to the gutsy performance of the Brit, Johnny Walker, waiting in the wings, but definitely the only man at the moment who can challenge the might of Jarvis.
Got a bit of a bad start, got stuck behind a few people, and then a few guys let me through, which was nice of them, and then just sort of fighting with Johnny and Cody for quite a while, and just sort of kept the same pace really.
I got the start and I tried to push her, but the next minute I turned around and Graham was like right there, so you know I let him go and try to follow him, but you know he was running a fast pace and I just couldn't keep with him.
The National Off-Road Championship in the quad category also had its excitement about it, as the top 10 riders were all here to claim first blood. But it would come down to reliability on the machines and fitness of the body.
Yeah, it's the Yamaha is great. I think my plans is today is to keep in front, to stay in front. I hope that will work out.
Yeah, we've been here 2 years ago. It was the first time I've been here. Terrain's quite fast, bumpy, rocky. It's quite nice. That was actually a good race for me. I ended up second. So yeah, we can't complain.
Yeah, last year we had some bad luck. Broke a collarbone. but this year we're back and here to win the championship.
After an impressive qualifying race in Bronkhorstspruit, Andre Duplessis was first off. Not always a good place to be on the first lap, as you have to cut the grass, as it's said. Double and current champion Yuri Meyer was off next and immediately hunting down the lead of Duplessis. Jaco Muller was the next rider to drop the gearbox and go for it. And had it not been for 2 rounds that he missed out in the 2013 season, he too may have been fighting it out for that championship. But it was Brian Baragwanath who came out the gate flying, and after last season's development year on the bike, he had his sights set all the way on this year's championship, as well as to prepare for the 2015 Dakar race. Hannah Simon followed Baragwanath and was in command of the Q2 class, and followed very closely by Damien Lee, who has come close on so many occasions, but bike reliability often is his downfall. Having what we call a heart-in-the-throat moment was David Hollis, but this wouldn't have affected him too bad as he got back straight to the job of chasing down the pack. 2013 Q2 champion Justin Roberts started well and was hoping to reel in championship rival Hannes Simon. He was followed by Hannes Annandale on the Suzuki and Eric Williams. Leading senior on the Sign Wonder Suzuki was Charles Lee. He was getting chased down by Stuart Freeman and Russell Ferreira, both working hard to match the early pace of Lee. Out front, and the only thing to have changed was Brian Baragwanath making the move up to 3rd place just ahead of Jaco Muller.
Yeah, last year, I think 2012, I raced the juniors here. It was an excellent race. The organizers did a great job.
Also moving up the order was Damien Lee ahead of Hannes Simon. However, this would not bother Simon as he still led his own category, the Q2 class. Charles Lee had passed 5 riders in the opening 2 laps to extend his lead in the seniors.
There's a lot of competition. I think there's also going to be a lot of seriousness and mistake to be making and so. But I will try to keep my head into the game and just focus on the race.
By this stage, Baragwanath had moved up another place, passing the current champion Yuri Meyer, and was now on the hunt down for the lead. Simon found himself in a close battle with David Hollis, who was now in a rhythm to push himself back up into the top 5. Positions in the top 10 were swapping back and forth as Charles Lee, Damien Lee and Justin Roberts were squeezing out every inch of power from their machines. Further down the field, the battles continued. As the leaders were coming into DSP, it was all bad luck for a rider further down the field. Damien Lee, plagued once again by reliability problems, were going to hamper his championship hopes. But it was Brian Baragwanath who had eventually taken the lead now, and once there, it was near on impossible to catch and past the former champion. Yuri Meyer had also made the pass on Andre Duplessis to put himself into 2nd place, followed by Jaco Muller, who had won the race 2 years prior, but in a much shorter junior race championship. David Hollis, who had recovered from his early race scare, had also capitalized and moved up the order into 4th overall. Top qualifier and pole man at this first round, Andre du Plessis, had his troubles going into the second half of the race, hence his dramatic fall down the order. But there is never any giving up for the Polokwane man. Hannah Simon still led and was about to take the Q2 race victory in the opening round. Was also about to take victory, this time in his senior class, until disaster struck late in the race, handing the senior win to Stuart Freeman aboard the Yamaha. In absolutely outstanding form, Baragwanath opened the season up with an emphatic victory to try and claim back the championship he so desperately wants. He was followed by current champion Yuri Meyer and ex-junior champion Jaco Moller. That's round one of what will be a long and tough season, starting things out with the Diamond Route 400. Baragwanath over Meyer, Moller, Hollis, Fenter, Simon. Very strong finish in 6th place ahead of du Plessis, Robert Freeman and Ferreira.
Absolutely. Today was all about finishing and finishing first if possible. It was a nice smooth run. The bike went well. One or two little glitches we got to sort out, but otherwise it was a smooth run. Very happy with it. Very happy with the new Team Ride SA. We're busy prepping for Dakar 2015, and we're running awareness for the Rhino. This year there's been over 100 Rhino poached already, so we're looking forward to making a difference in that regard, and we hope that guys will support our Team Ride SA.
This week's episode was presented to you by Broadlink, serious bandwidth for serious business. Brother, print, copy, scan, fax, label, and so much more. KTM, ready to race, and driven by the all-new Ford Ranger. Ford, go further.